just go to a website, but I don't have it on here.
You got a PowerPoint on a thumb drive, or we can pull it from
Yeah.
a link.
You do? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. Right there, and you can pull it on. Thanks for having it separate.
Normally I have other people do this for me, but they're all out of town, so.
I can pull it up so you guys are right. Where is that?
Should be D.
Yep.
There it is.
And I'll stick it on here. Yes, sir. Thanks for bringing it.
Okay.
I didn't catch that email.
No, don't worry about it.
And then all you'll have to do is just hit that to go forward and backwards. That's it.
Oh, okay. Forward and backwards.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Whatever's your plan.
So when our
When our
is
comes
up,
you're first.
you just use these keys to go forward. You just push those keys.
Hey, Ronnie, we don't have
And you
quorum
always-
yet,
you
so
always see-
we're
Nope,
still
you'll be
waiting on a
done.
few
The
folks.
whole thing?
No.
Just
from-
letting you know. You hear me, Ronnie?
Yeah, yeah, sorry about that. I'm watching the governor's press conference as well, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. Well, Bender's at the press conference, so
He is.
he won't be
He is.
here till after that, and we're still waiting on, Councilman Moore just showed up, so we got quorum now.
Okay,
We'll
sounds
get started
good.
in just a few minutes.
I guess.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the, I don't even know what month it is, August, sorry, the August meeting of the Escambia County Tourist Development Council. Is there any public comment? Anyone from the public want to comment today? Nope. All right, we'll move on to the agenda items. So first we need the approval of some prior Tourist Development Council meeting minutes. I will entertain a motion for them individually or all three together, whichever you guys would prefer. If everyone's had an opportunity to read them.
I make a motion, we approve all three.
I second.
So we have a motion and a second. I think Mary, Ronnie, I'm not sure if you're not here, whether you can vote or not. I'm not sure how that works, but,
I rescind my second.
okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion, we'll move for the vote. Call for the vote. Those in favor say aye. Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. All right. So the next item on the agenda is review of TDC role and responsibilities. I spoke to the county attorney, Allison Rogers, about this, and she has asked if we could please move this to the October meeting, and she will come in and give a much broader presentation on the role and responsibilities and the requirements for sunshine and public records, et cetera. So we're gonna move that to our October meeting. Next item on the agenda is the status of the funds available, the TDC collection or TDT collections and receipts, the clerk and comptroller's office.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bear. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Mike.
My
How are you?
pleasure. And perfect. I was told it was uploaded on here for me. So let me just make it full screen. Oh, never mind. I'm not entirely sure right off the top of my head how to make it full screen, but I can zoom in and whatnot. So the status of funds as of July 22nd was $9.6 million for year to date, with about $545,000 as of July 22nd for July. Now, as of July in total, we had about $2.9 million for the entire month, and thus far for August, we've collected $217,000, which would bring us a total year-to-date collections of $12.2 million. Now, for some statistics on the July 21 compared to July 20 for the prior year, if you look at the statistics for all the 5 cents, it was a 71% increase, but a 4% comparison is a 52% increase. And then if you compare July 21 to a more of a better year like 2019, a benchmark year, the increase was 32% if you looked at all 5 cents, and 17% if you look at 4 cents, if you took the 5th cent out.
Okay, great.
Yep.
That's wonderful. Does anybody have any questions about that, about the collections, et cetera? No? Yeah, those are great.
Yep.
I do have one other question. I've asked at previous meetings about the $350,000.
Yes, sir.
And I haven't seen that in any of the reports where it's going back. Has
Yeah.
that been?
So what has happened with the $350,000 is I spoke to some other employees of the county, and for the American Rescue Plan, the plan has to be accepted, and then they can create the SBA, the budget amendment, and then we can actually make the actual transfer. That is my understanding, and to my understanding, if I'm correct.
Amber's here to.
I can add to that. So
Corroborate.
the original plan was we were waiting until we had a plan to spend the funds, but at this point, what we've decided in the budget office is to go ahead and recommend the SBA to appropriate the funds in total. And later, when the board makes a decision about how to use those funds, not this board, but the BCC, we can move the funds at that time. But what that will allow us to do is go ahead and move the $350 now.
Okay.
So we can take care of the commitment to this board. We are working towards getting that on next week's agenda. I will tell you, there is a possibility it may not go until September 2nd.
Okay.
So,
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Does anybody else have any other questions for the clerk's office? No? Great. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. And one thing I neglected to say at the beginning of the meeting, if you would, when you speak, please turn on your microphones. We have one person that is on the Teams meeting, on the virtual meeting. So if audience members come up and speak, please speak into the microphone as well. That's one item of business. Another item of business is And although we do have many items on our agenda, we do have, the Escambia Children's Trust is meeting immediately following us at 5:30. So we will need to adjourn by 5 o'clock. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is Bay Center. I don't know if, oh, there he is. Couldn't tell with the mask on. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Doing well, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and speak to you today regarding the Bay Center. I just want to provide a quick status update. We are maintaining our budget expectations that we've mitigated through this year. It's been well discussed and talked about. As of June financials, we're at 267, so we're well below that 350 threshold that we were trying to maintain. July is almost wrapped up. Our finance director is out this week and next week. When she returns, we'll be able to wrap those up, and we anticipate before she was out to be somewhere around 247. So that's, again, trending in the right direction. That being said, we also are anticipating with the cases and everything that's going on right now is to, with sales trends that we've seen for Summer Jam, September 11th, and Cat Williams for September 25th, and our MMA Island fights on September 24th. Those are kind of plateauing right now. They're not going up as high as we wanted to. So we're just controlling our expenses and making sure that we mitigate and balance that out. As well as to try to plan going into October to ramp up to full season. With our conversations lately with the hockey owner Greg Harris is that we do plan to play a full season in October. They do have some return to play committee meetings to discuss their protocols. And again, the lessons that we've learned from COVID in March of 19, I believe it was, it's hard to remember now, was that we need to be prepared and be ahead of it. So we are taking those measures to do so, and feel that we're pretty comfortable in that shape right now. So the COVID situation right now, we are monitoring with Home Builders Association that's coming in and doing their event this Saturday and Sunday. There are no major changes. We're following all guidelines with local, state, and the city here. We're still maintaining our staff. Right now we have 10 working staff out of the usual 24, but we're making do and we're making it work. I mentioned the financials. Our attendance right now, our actual attendance through the year is 150,000 through the doors, which is still pretty substantial with what we've experienced. We were budgeted originally to try to come out of this at 335. Prior year at this time we were at 170,000. So you're seeing that we're pretty much on par. This fiscal year we've had about 6 months of COVID effect. Previous year we had about 6 months of that true COVID effect as well. Our gross tickets are down about $2 million. How that relates is that's ticket monies that go to the promoter, that go to the artist. However, we make rebates off of that, as well as we generate tax dollars at local options tax that comes back to the community as well. So we're seeing a downturn on that. Project update wise, we are some things that have been mentioned about our concession stands, the wraps, the storefronts have been completed. And if you haven't been to the building to see them, they've turned out pretty phenomenal. We're really impressed with how the wrap came in, and then the digital display monitors that are on the front of them. They also tie into the video board system with the product that we selected that also extends all the way out in the concourse, so much to the point when we had a visit with Sunbelt, they're interested in maybe trying to find a way to fund some additional screens to then put in other areas to create premium spaces. If those are familiar with the building in room A, that front meeting room downstairs, it's the Ice Flyers VIP room, or been the breakfast room for Fiesta or something to that effect, that we can create more of that lounge, premium, upscale, and again, just another way to generate more revenue. We have initiated the point of sale system. That was the last piece of the concessions project. That is on track to be installed prior to hockey season in October. What that does, it gives us the ability to have dynamic pricing to really restructure what we're doing, real in-time inventory control, instead of having all the labor to do all the count outs through our cash drawers at the end of the evening. So again, getting more update with technology. The Wi-Fi system has been fully tested and performing beautifully thanks to our partners with TIG and Escambia County IT. They have really put forth the effort to make sure that that system is bar none and really elevates the experience in the arena. We're working with the county to try to implement a DAS system, which is a directional antenna system, which in essence is a big cell phone tower. It turns the building into a big cell phone tower for Verizon, T-Mobile, the major carriers. The advantage to that is that it's a no cost to the county, and it also generates revenue. They pay the county, pay the building to put this system in. They install it, they maintain it, they even pay for the electricity to run it. But we're just trying to work through how the lease license agreements and all of that can go forward under the statutes for Escambia County. Our marquees, I'm sure everybody's seen them, the front of the building and the back of the building. That was on the board last week. That has been voted and approved to move forward in the PO process with Daktronics. That will replace the LED digital displays that were damaged in Hurricane Sally, as well as repair and or replace the top piece that names the building and the bottom piece with our sponsor. We have met with that existing sponsor. They are interested in coming back on board as we get that repair in place. That is one of the largest sponsors, cash sponsors of the building, so it is very critical and important for us to get them back on board. They are interested in going into a 2-year versus a 1-year. So again, trying to plan long-term and really to benefit them and the building. One piece that was brought up prior to, I believe, is the ice floor. We are getting ready to start those repairs after Home Builders Association this weekend. It's about $60,000 worth of work if everything is needed, but that is necessary to implement hockey for next season. When we pulled the ice out this year, we noticed some cracking on the concrete and maybe some issues with the pipes. So this piece next week is to go in to investigate that, see what will happen, see what the damage is. We had one previously happen when we had Monster Jam before. They actually came down and made a nice little imprint on the concrete, so we had to pull that out, repair it. This is a very similar fix, but this could be an indication of a longer term issue, so we are trying to plan on that. We have already talked with the manufacturers and other buildings that have gone through this similar situation to start working the cost estimates of what it would be for a new floor, the time frame that we would need to do it, how long it would take, how that would impact the booking of the building. And so we're putting together that plan to speak with the county on that long-term solution. Regarding events, I mentioned we've done pretty well. Monster Jam did phenomenally well, projecting to, or compared to what we were projecting. So that's what has really helped us get into the position we're in. MMA, and then a White Tie Rock Ensemble. If anybody's been to that show at the Sanger, they decided to come to the Bay Center to provide their fan base more socially distanced, open air space. As well as with Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin, why not do it in an arena versus a theater? It went over very well. The band was really happy. It's a local band. They have intentions to continue this relationship. We have already rebooked and put on sale their Christmas show in December. They have plans to come back in 2022 to the tune of 2 to 3 events, but also working with the Sanger to fit the right venue for their shows. Mentioned Cat Williams. It's another one that's coming up. Sales are going okay, but we're looking for that one to really drive home in September. We're also looking at our business model with our meeting room events. If most of you have been there, or those in the audience have been to weekly luncheons or banquets or something to that effect, those have historically not been very big revenue generators, and it has had quite a substantial amount of overhead. So we are working on streamlining that to maximize our revenue potential and limit our expense. It's not to say we're not booking meeting rooms. In fact, we've got Dollar General in there today and tomorrow hosting some corporate meetings, but we're being very strategic and very smart in how we're doing that. Primarily also, we're trying to mitigate our expense with our staffing. We still have one staff member that's doing all of that, all food and beverage and all meeting rooms. But as we open and find the business coming back, we're going to ramp that back up. Future budget, we have submitted for similar as what we've done in the past with the 1.3 operating and then the 200 in capital. And I can sit here and tell you that building could take a lot more than 200 in capital. But as we've done every year, I would say within the past 6-7 years, to my recollection, please don't quote me, but I can provide you the data, is that we have not spent that 200 every year. We have always had or tried to carry a balance because of what if something else happens, that catastrophe, we need something there. So we try to build that in. I mentioned hockey. Sunbelt is very excited. They were here a week ago, I think, met with Visit and Pensacola Sports, had a great meeting with them. They're invested and want to put money back into that building to continue to host here. They are going to host the entire tournament next year, all games at the Bay Center, and they're looking forward to going past the commitment that they have right now. But once we get through this year, we'll begin the conversations of talking about the renewal for the 2-year option, but potentially open the door to more years after that. Any questions for me?
Any questions from the council?
Yeah, when you say Monster Jam, your projections, you guys did better than your projections. What were you projecting, and what kind of attendance did we get?
So we had just over 9,000 in attendance over 3 shows. That was 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. We were conservatively projecting about 190,000 in gross sales, which again, these gross sales go to the show. But we do, through our Ticketmaster rebates and so forth, some comes back to us. They were north of 300. So with that, and that attendance means that the Ticketmaster rebates helped us, but as well as we say, butts in the seats, the attendance, our concession number were pretty good.
Do you guys keep track of or have a way to track how many attendees are from out of town versus how many are local? Do you guys do anything like that?
So it's very challenging for us to do that we have a mechanism through Ticketmaster that can collect data on zip codes and where they purchased, how they purchased, when they purchased, what medium they've purchased through. However, what we have found is in the ticketing world, you do have a lot of ticket brokers that still go buy a bunch of tickets. And then we have found that with military, they could have a credit card tied to a zip code across the country, but they may be living here or they may be traveling. So we do have that data, but we take it with a grain of salt when we do look at it.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Great. Well, thank you, Michael.
Thank
That's
you
a
very
lot of
much.
activity going on, and
Absolutely.
appreciate the update. Yeah, thank you. Next on the agenda is update from county administration. I see Wes over there. Wes, I don't know if you have any updates on anything that you want to provide? No? Okay, great. Thank you. So updates from outside agencies. First, we have Visit Pensacola on the agenda, and we're just looking for any updates that you guys might have. Oh, are you okay? Yeah, I was going to ask if you wanted that. Do you need any help, or are you okay? Okay. Dickie, do you want to give a marketing update for? Any doctors in the house?
I thought he was going to fix the knee.
All right, well, that was good. Thank y'all very much.
Thanks for your update.
One of the exciting things, my wife and I thought about moving to Pensacola is Andrew Institute, and maybe get my knee fixed, so I'm going to work on that. Good afternoon, Darren Schaefer, President and CEO for Visit Pensacola. Want to start off because I wasn't here at the last TDC meeting, but just want to start off by thanking the TDC for its funding recommendation for the unified budget to the Escambia County Board of Commissioners. As we enter the last 2 months of this fiscal year, I can continue to add on to the report that was given earlier by the Comptroller's Office that our lodging trends continue to be very strong, but we are certainly monitoring what's happening as we are going to watch what the impact of the Delta COVID variant has on on visitor travel sentiment, so we are certainly watching that. We are prepared to adjust our marketing as necessary, and we have a great program that we had launched last winter, which is called Coastal Distancing, which again encourages people to enjoy our wide open spaces and beaches. I think probably our biggest concern that the industry shares right now is staffing, and that how this COVID strain could impact or further stress limited staffing. So that is something that we're watching along with our tourism partners, and how that's going to impact our local employers to continue to properly staff their business. Visit Pensacola will, though, through this whole time, continue to work with Escambia County and City of Pensacola, the state and the CDC, to make sure that we, our partners stay informed and compliant. And of course, we have a page called our Healthy Travel page on our website that's designed to help visitors understand what the requirements are, and if they change, they have that page always to go to for updates. I would like to share a few comments about TDC. So we provide this report at our board meetings, and we did not have a meeting in July, and I don't have the July numbers, but they sound very good. This is actually a reflection through May receipts received through June, which were briefly commented on. And again, we've seen the last 6 months have been record collections, and when we base it on 4 cents, the receipts that we received in June, the difference is about $409,000 over 2019, which is a 32% difference. And we saw that July was 17% over 2019. So it continues to be strong. And again, we project that to happen through the rest of the summer. We also have another slide here that just talks about the comparisons for the year to date. And again, this is October through June, and I think we just said with July, it'll be over 12 million. And of course, we've budgeted for TDT for this fiscal year at 10. So we've certainly exceeded. I think we're going to hit that 13.5 or more, what we were projecting. Our focus, actually over the last few months, has been working on our marketing for next year, working with all of our partners, talking about interest markets. We have a lot planned for a strong fall push that will be shared here briefly by Showcase. And again, looking at interest markets, how do we expand upon the primary message as a beach destination? And we're definitely going to be putting more of an emphasis on looking at the snowbird activity and our extended stay visitors through the months of December through March, and see how we can attract more of those folks to bolster our occupancy during one of our slowest times of the year. So with that, you're right here. Okay, great.
Okay, well, thank you, Darren. I'm Dick Appleyard, representing Showcase. Ellis is also here, and others are probably watching on TV right now. A little bit about one of our strategies is to support the airport. And Darren has become good friends with the airport manager, and we're trying to work on, we're the outside guys and they're the inside guys. We work on outside markets coming here, they work on local people going out. And so we came up with a fly market support campaign, which is where all the new flights are coming from, is where we're marketing. And it's very strategic and very targeted is the way we're doing it. You can see the markets we're in right now include Austin, Dallas, Denver, Houston, Indianapolis, Kansas City, Nashville, New York, St. Louis, and Washington, D.C. And we monitor those results on a regular basis, and it's possible those key markets will change. And it's also possible some of those flights might go away, and depending on the timing of the year. So we stay on top of that. It's gotten us good results and good website sessions, and we just started this recently, and this is something we plan to do for the entirety of next year, because we feel like the airport's a great partner for us, and what we need to do is to attract visitors from outside through this fly market campaign. The next is our campaign theme, and y'all, I think you heard a presentation by the Downs and St. Germain on the research. If you didn't, it's fantastic. I thought they made a presentation here. They're a great partner of ours who does research all around for us. They did a branding and messaging research for us, and it came down to this. The emotional positioning study came down to how do visitors describe Pensacola: relaxed, down to earth, easygoing. Beach people daydream about peaceful, relaxing, comfortable, no traffic, hassles, noise, and keeping up with the Joneses. You can just be yourself when you come to Pensacola. And you put them all together, the intersection of reality and daydream make Pensacola be the place where people, the way to beach. And so that's the theme that you'll be seeing throughout this year. A lot of work done by Downs and St. Germain and by our team, and that's the thread through which much of what we do this next year. Just an important note that you may not know Downs and St. Germain, but what a terrific partner to bring us messaging and targeted messaging. And they've done focus groups and also done local surveying of people who have come here. So next up is our fall push, which is using the way to beach as the message. We got some great videography out there, perfect time of year, and you can see part of it right there in the animated part. We're doing the fall push of the way to beach from August to October in a 500-mile area in the similar markets that you're used to seeing us advertise. Primarily, this is in multi-channel marketing with emphasis on lower funnel booking channels. For those of you who don't understand all the digital work, it's not the demand that, I need about Pensacola. It's I'm looking for a trip, and you get them in the Expedias and TripAdvisors and whatever, and on social media. So the bottom funnel is more direct: sign up, get a room, get an RV spot, or what have you. And that runs from July 15th to September 30th, and that's the unveiling of our new campaign, The Way to Beach, primarily on digital, as I said. From a local standpoint, this is something new that Darren and Nicole really wanted us to emphasize: is how do we get the information once people get here to what to do when you get here. And so we are connecting with travelers once they come into our market through social media and other tactics to give them ideas of what they can do and to promote the partners of Visit Pensacola and of the tourist community. This campaign begins August 1st through September 30th. My guess is, as we continue to build assets to this, it will be an ongoing campaign that's part of what we do all the time. So anytime a visitor comes, they can go to the website or they would see it and click to the neat things to do in Pensacola, because, you know, we market primarily come to the beach. That's what the research says to do. But this is a big part of getting them into town, getting them to see the history, getting them to see the museums, et cetera. So there'll be, all of these will be hit on our social media, and that is all targeted up and down from Perdido all the way down to Pensacola. It's to hit visitors when they come here. Our Texas push is started August 1st and through September the 30th. It's also the way to beach. The tactics here are print, OTT, and digital display. For those of you who don't know what OTT is, ask your kids. More than likely, they're not on cable television. They cut the cord and they go to whatever they want to watch, and OTT is the ads that run prior to shows or within shows, and that we're strategically targeting certain demographics, which you can do with OTT and with digital display. And that's primarily in the Dallas and Houston area. Just a little tidbit of information. We are seeing Dallas as a real hot spot for us. Houston, we have not yet seen the response. Now, there are an awful lot of flights coming in from Dallas, but there are also flights coming in from Houston. We're trying to figure out what the tipping point is as to why we're hot in Dallas and not as hot in Houston. But we're working on that. But we feel like Texas is a real travel boon for us. Now, the other thing that might be a difference is Houston may be close enough to drive, and families drive and come in that way during the summer months. So we're looking at that. But Darren has directed us. There is great potential in the Texas area, and so we are marketing in the Texas area, and that's how we're doing it. August 1 to September 30th. What's next? We're monitoring like you are COVID. I hate to even bring it up. We have some experts in the room in the business, but what we have heard up to now is there are cancellations, but there are immediate people ready to take up the cancellations. Y'all can speak up during my report if you want to, but so far we haven't seen much drop off. Is that true? Ted? But we're keeping an eye on it. I'm sure it's out there. You know, one of the reasons we're doing this big push in August and September is that traditionally we've dropped off. And Darren did not want a drop off. So we are consistently marketing out there to take that softer season, August, September, and then into the October area. So that's what we're doing there. We have a fall campaign where we'll be in every SEC game with our Way to Beach messaging on cable and digital in every market that has SEC in it. That's our drive market, and we had success in something similar but not nearly the same, but we are excited about advertising in SEC football, assuming we have SEC football. And we're spending a lot of time building the plans for 2022. Technology is changing so fast. We've met with every vendor. We've met with new vendors. There's an awful lot of change going to take place in the digital side of things, and in what we use on television as OTT grows and what have you. But we are, the only other thing that Darren mentioned is the interest campaigns, and we're trying to do specific campaigns to targeted audiences for different reasons to come here. History would be one of them. There are a number of them out there that we're looking at. So in 2022, you'll see niche campaigns run in specific areas. For instance, Perdido, because they have so many condos, is a great family market for a family promotion. We've done one of those. I call it a niche, but we ran in Baton Rouge and got great results. So that's the kind of thing a niche marketing campaign would do. So with that, I think that's my, this is a reminder from Nicole. You can vote as many times as you like, and we'd love for you to. The South's best beach, best for family getaway, best beach town, and we're hoping to come out good in that. Every time we get an accolade, we use it in all of our advertising. Nicole is out of town, or I would give her a report, but she is at the Florida Public Relations meeting. Darren, she's been very, very busy. And if you want to.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything to add on to the presentation, but if there's any questions, be happy to answer those.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
I would make a comment to Visit Pensacola and the marketing guys. This past week I was in Panama City, and some of our advertising material that we have, that you said we focus in Texas, it may be a good idea if some of that was maybe done in Spanish. A funny story, me and my wife were out on the beach, and I looked around both ways, and I told her, I said, if I didn't know any better, I would think we were in Mexico on the beach. It was just that many Spanish people that were, and I kind of blend in with them, so there was 95% of the people on the beach were Spanish or looked Spanish. There was very few Americans, so it was, if we're advertising in Texas, and the Innisfree guys from their hotels in Panama City, they can probably tell you, it was crazy. Every car in the parking lot said Texas on it. And I told her, I said, where's the Florida tags or the Alabama tags? There's nobody, everybody's from Texas. And it was families, and they were all, most of them, they roll 5-6 kids deep. So there's a lot of people on the beach, and they had a lot of traffic, so it was good. So.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate your update.
Thank you.
Thanks. I hope your knee's okay, Darren. I don't see anyone, but is there anyone from ACE? No. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped Pensacola Sports. Ray? Sorry. I didn't have my glasses on. Sorry about that, Ray.
You must be related to my wife. She's pretty good at that, forgets I'm around. Thanks,
No
Dave.
comment.
Thank you, Chair. Ray Palmer, Pensacola Sports. I'll be relatively brief unless y'all have a lot of questions. So things are happening at Pensacola Sports. Coming up in Labor Day, we have our junior college soccer event. We'll have 9 schools here playing out at Ashton Brosnaham Park. It's an event that we created, and it's a Labor Day to kick off their season. This will be the third year actually that we had it, and it came about as another event, junior college tennis event that we created several years ago. And the soccer coaches got wind and said, "Hey, can you host us?" And we were like, "Yes, we can." So that weekend, we also have our Bayou Hills Run. This year, what we did with the Bayou Hills Run, Mr. Moore probably knows, one of the oldest runs in Pensacola that we acquired several years ago. David, you're very familiar with it. And it was usually a spring event, and we last year, as a result of COVID, moved it to Labor Day, and we actually decided to put it on Labor Day. And then what we did is we created a theme to the event, and last year it was the frontline medical care workers, and we give away several hundred free spots to people that happen to work in whatever industry or whatever we're going to honor that year. This year we are recognizing education. So we've got 200 plus free entries to people in the education, and we're promoting that across the Southeast in order to encourage people. And it's not just teachers, it's if you're a bus driver or you work in the cafeteria, but if you're tied to education, we want you to come and enjoy Pensacola and promote the education. We actually do it on Labor Day. So we still down at Bayview Park, so we're excited about this event. If we can ever get a good year, we had a threat today or yesterday that the city was going to not allow us to have a permit, but we do have a confirmation as of now that it's going to be able to move forward. So we're excited about that one. Michael mentioned the Sun Belt Conference was in town last week. They're just as excited, if not more excited, every time they come about the event and what our community is and how it's embracing them. One of the most exciting components about this year, and we reviewed everything with meetings with Showcase and Visit, and obviously the Bay Center and Pensacola Sports about all the elements. But one of the most exciting components is this year that we didn't have last year will be the bands and the cheer groups. And those basically in themselves double the number of people that are coming. And what's even more exciting is there are about 50 to 60 people in that. And if they're men's team, since both team, men and women schools or teams are represented, if you play for a school and your men's team loses the first day, the cheerleading band has to stay because the women's team may be in the finals. So we don't have the attrition, which is really nice for the hoteliers, unless you get a school who's bad at both men and women, and that they're there. But we're excited again about that. We keep waiting for an official press release on the NAIA Lacrosse National Championships. So we hope to have a press release yesterday. We understand they're going to be back in their office on the 12th, so we hope to have that official announcement. That will be in May for a 2-year contract for the national championships for lacrosse. Our first endeavor into lacrosse, but we're really excited because it is absolutely a growing sport in our community, and so we're excited about that. Now, the first of one big, or the ask for today is we are sitting on an opportunity to host, or we're submitting a bid to the Southeastern Conference. And in our world, we love Sun Belt Conference, and that's a Super Bowl. Well, this might be the Olympics in our world. So the Southeastern Conference women's soccer event has been held since 2003 in Orange Beach, and they have to leave. They've just been awarded a 5-year contract that's out, and it's over after this year, and they're looking for a home. They would very much like to stay on the coast, and they very much would like to stay in a beach community. They are kings, and I think we all understand that. But to just kind of drive that home today, Sports Business Journal is our business, if you will, our Bible. Today, the front page is all about the value of the Southeastern Conference and how important and how they are the kings in the collegiate athletics world. And if we get a chance to host the Southeastern Conference women's soccer, and this is a multi-year, minimum 4-year deal right now is what we're bidding on, they also are looking for a long-term possible home. But you can read on here, $3 billion 10-year contract beginning 2024 with ESPN. You know what that means? That means Pensacola is going to be on ESPN 10 days in a row every November. Plus, they replay them and everything else. Well, all that being said, we have one ask. We need a letter to attach to our bid that just says the Tourist Development Council supports Pensacola Sports' effort to bring this event to Pensacola. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for funds today. And I don't really anticipate that we will. They know our home. They know us. And they came to us. And so that's our ask today, is if we could get approval for the chairman to write a letter supporting. We have letters from the mayor. We have letters from the Board of County Commissioners. They approved it last week. And letters from others. So we're really, 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 really excited about bringing this opportunity to home. The only other thing that I'll ask is when we met with Sunbelt Conference, there was conversation about some representation at the Sunbelt Conference and potentially the SEC working with Showcase of going to some of their events. Some of the football games, some of the key football games, and there was a question if there's anybody on the TDC that happens to have an RV that we could use. I mean, we got an RV park. Do we own an RV that could help us? I'm kidding. Not really, but anyway, questions? Questions for me, please.
Thanks, Ray. Does anybody have questions or comments for Ray?
Do we need a motion for the letter? I think we need to send a letter.
Yeah, well, I'll entertain. We'll
Okay, I
entertain
make a
it.
motion that we direct Chair Bear to make a motion, to send a letter to go along with the packet.
Thank you. Our bid is due next Wednesday. If we could get
Okay.
that to attach that to our bid, that'd be fantastic. Thank y'all very much.
Did I hear a second?
I'd second that.
We got a second? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any
That's a
discussion?
letter of support, right?
Yes. Yes, a letter of support. Any comments or questions? Not?
Ray, I got a question. You said on the packet that you send to them, what else do you guys send? Do you have to offer them something to get this, or how does that work?
The interesting thing, the one thing we're getting a lot of feedback for is they're very interested. They understand our commitment to bringing people from out of market. So that's why the tie with Showcase and some of the other initiatives will happen. But what they know our venue, because we were actually a finalist for this contract a year ago when they gave it back to Orange Beach, and then some things happened and they fell apart and they now have to leave. So they know our venue. They're really interested. There is some small low-hanging fruit, if you will, that we're going to need to invest in the facility, but there are things that we can also use for other championships. We have the Gulf South Conference Championships in November. Some covered benches, we're going to have to invest in that, so yes. They also are very interested in the local, what are we going to do to get Pensacola excited to bring people? We're a much larger community than Orange Beach, and they struggle to get the crowds they would like to get, and they want to see how we going to get people to come out there and participate. We have 3 elementary schools right there on the road, or 3 schools. 2 of them are elementary schools, and day trips and local soccer organizations, and then the local alumni association. So that's really what they're asking. The promise is, we've asked the mayor, can he use some of his potential just community marketing, saying this is what's happening in our community, because that's not appropriate use of tourist development tax dollars, but our community to embrace this and to really become just like Sunbelt Conference. We're looking at how to weave these couple of events into being a part of our community every year. We talked a lot about the model that's in Grand Junction, Colorado, that's hosted junior college baseball for 60 years or something. And they have, their committee has a tag that they put on their cars for the month. And that shows they're part of the committee. And we're trying to create that quality of life where these events are woven into our community as part of our expectations for May or March and November timeframes, that the community truly embraces this opportunity. And for many, many years, SEC is looking for a home, potentially. They've just made a home at Nashville with their women's event. Baseball has been in the Birmingham area for many years and will continue. I think they have a 30-year contract or something like that. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking to really be a game changer.
Chairman, this is Ronnie real quick. Ray, where's the venue going to be for this? Thank you.
At our existing Brosnahan Park.
Thanks.
All right, so I'll call the question. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ray.
Thank y'all.
It's a really exciting project. Hopefully we can get that here. Next on the agenda, as Ace mentioned earlier, I don't see anybody here. No. National Aviation Museum. Is anyone here from there? Nope. All right. UWF Historic Trust. Rob?
Good afternoon, everyone. Robert Overton, Executive Director of the University of West Florida Historic Trust. Thank you guys for what you do, and I'm happy to give a report. Don't want to start off too much doom and gloom, but you all know, and we've all, as a world, have been through a rough last year. Our visitation was down quite a bit, about 63% over the last year as to what it was previous. That was COVID primarily, but in September, which we're coming back up on another September, we had Hurricane Sally, and our 30 historic properties that we managed downtown had about $2.5 million worth of damage. We are still fixing some of that damage, but I am happy to report that all the museums are open. We're back open our full number of days per week, our full hours. We are working hard. We're experiencing some difficulty getting some of our part-time staff. We are very short-staffed, as everybody is. We've raised our pay rate, bringing in some people. But even in spite of that, our visitation for the last couple months is 27% higher than it was in 2019 for the same period. If you've been downtown, you know that there's a lot of people out. They're coming into the museums. Our store sales are up. They're spending some money in those museums. The donation boxes, they're dropping in donations. So if we can survive this next round of COVID and things don't taper off, I'm looking for a year. Our budget year starts July 1st. A year going at this rate to exceed what we did in 2019, which was one of our busier years. We brought in almost 190,000 visitors just to the museums downtown, and I would love to see that happen. We did have a great event, and part of the tourism funding helped fund that. Last year, we had $25,000 added to our ask by the county commission to host the bicentennial celebration. July 17, 2021 was 200 years to the day that Florida became part of the United States as U.S. territory here in Pensacola. And so on July 17th, Saturday, we had a great celebration down at Museum Plaza. We had we clocked in, and not everybody came through our visitor doors, but 1,100 people in that one-day event from about 10 to 4. Commissioner Bender was there on stage. To say that it was a hot day is a little bit of an understatement. Everybody fussed and wished that this would have happened. If they had known back in the day, they would have done it in the spring or the fall. But it was a great show from our community. We had people from all over that came. The Creek Tribe, the county commission supported, the city supported, a flyover from the Navy practice planes. We had reenactors that wanted to participate in this that came all the way from Arkansas. I don't know if you got to see it, but they pulled on a trailer a flat-bottom keel boat all the way from Arkansas down and put it down in Pitt Slip, and we're giving tours. So it made me very proud of the community for coming out and supporting this, and I'm still getting positive feedback about it. So other than that, things are looking good if we can all just dodge this COVID bullet and be safe. So if you got any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Recovered. I've talked with Margot, St. Michael Cemetery. They've got some events that are part of the 200th anniversary that are scheduled in September. The cemeteries are looking good. The others, we're closing out our budget year with them. They've done some additional signage. They are actually part of the 200th, and some of the other funding is going to cover that. There's going to be a cemetery walking tour connecting the cemeteries that are funded, and you can go through the cemeteries as a self-guided and learn about some of the residents of the cemetery and their history. And they've worked on that through the university's Archaeology Institute, and they are working with creating this app that you can go in of that tour. So I do know that they're working hard on that piece. And the cemeteries are looking good if you've come by there, as good as a cemetery can look.
Right. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it. I know we have online Cheryl with the African American Heritage Society. Cheryl, you want to give
yes.
us an update? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Cheryl Howard, Chief Executive Officer of the African American Heritage Society. Thank you for allowing me to participate remotely today while we're at the height of this pandemic yet again. I, like Darren, was not present at the very last meeting, so in terms of an update, I'm not exactly sure that what I will be giving is an update versus perhaps more original information. And that information is that we have had an amazing past season. We have had, I can't tell you, significant numbers of tourists who have come in from other states primarily to see our exhibit that we presented, co-curated and presented this past year. The exhibit was a more complete American history exhibit, and the interest was just phenomenal. It really was phenomenal. We are hopeful that we will be able to tweak it, to update and do some additional things with it next year, such that it will not be the exact same exhibit, but it will be, if you will, further improved, so to speak, to cover some additional topics, as well as our usual lineup of arts and cultural tourism types of events. For the past 30, now going on 1 years, as you know, we have had a variety of different kinds of programming, and we're looking forward to an outdoor program in November, as well as some virtual programs throughout the year in the form of lectures, again, some art, some of our usual kinds of songs, et cetera, the type of events that we have co-sponsored with other organizations as well, such as Penn Women last year, and of course with the Historic Trust under the direction of Robert Overton, who just spoke, of course. In order to continue as we have, it is vital that we continue to have not only the usual funding, but more funding than what we have had in the past. Because when we're using these ancillary sites, because our site is a bit too small to host the number of people that we have had come in this year, the space is not sufficient enough for the proper amount of social distancing. We don't know how much longer this pandemic will last. It almost seems like it will never end. But at any rate, we are projecting to have to continue to use other locations. This past year, we were pleased to use both Voices for some period of time, followed by Artel Art Gallery for the remaining period. And the exhibit ran from November of last year up to just about a week ago, the end of August, beginning of August of this year. We're still continuing to receive calls of disappointed folks, the ones who missed it, as well as thank yous from those who were able to attend it. So I don't know exactly what has been placed in the budget for us, but I do know that based on our work, we have contributed yet again to cultural tourism, because people, and we can't take all of the credit, we do know that there has been a heightened interest in cultural tourism for a variety of reasons. And so it just so happens that we were in a position, fortunately, to be able to satisfy the interest of the larger community, not just our local community, but the regional as well as statewide, United States wide interest in being able to enjoy themselves on the beach, and at the same time learn something that they might not have known and have the opportunity to participate with one of our exhibits. And then, of course, as I mentioned at the budget meeting last month, we have an automated message that goes out once they make contact with us, because they all want to know what else can they do. So we already have an automated message that goes out to them, letting them know other places to visit, other places to eat and dine, and we've gotten significant numbers of thank yous for that. So we're looking forward to continuing to do what we have been doing, and I'd like to make myself available at this time if you have any questions that you might have for me.
Great, thank you, Cheryl. We appreciate the information. Does anybody have any questions for Cheryl
I don't have any questions. I just,
or comments?
for the board, Cheryl was at our budget workshop, and I think we made sure that some of these outside agencies that hadn't necessarily been partaking in this or made sure that we got them on the schedule and knew that this was going on. So I just wanted to appreciate her being here today and give us an update, because I thought it was important for us to continue to hear how they're progressing. So
I agree. Thank you.
And thank you so much for that.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? No? Great. Thank you, Cheryl. We appreciate it.
Okay. Good evening.
Next up is Sertoma. Is someone here from Sertoma? No? All right. We will move on. Other business. Commissioner Bender, you asked to bring the Perdido Key Beach Access number 4 item back up for discussion.
yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was something that came in front of our board, and as I've said in this position, that to make sure that this board were aware of the funds being spent by the county, there was a request for an additional $91,782 over what had already been approved by this board of $210, because that was nearly 43% more than what had initially been approved. I felt it was prudent to bring that back to this board and ask for your support on that, as I'm sure people know that construction costs has gone up a little bit, but we are finally moving forward with getting that beach access number 4 in Perdido Key opened up, and would appreciate the continued support from this board.
Any questions or comments? Councilman?
Is it that the full extent of that 91,782, that is all construction cost?
Yes. So phase 2 is $241,400, which is the parking lot construction, and then phase 3 is an additional $33,000 with access mat and deck, beach shower, wash station, informational signage, split rail fencing, and installation costs.
So how much more?
An additional $91,782.
So back in, I guess it was February or March, last year, May, I can't remember which meeting
February
which of our meetings.
2020?
Yeah, of 2020. We had discussed and we had approved, the county approved it, and then it came to us with the documents requesting the $228,208 out of tourist development tax. At the time, it was a $400,000 project that was proposed, and of the $228,000, the documentation said there was approximately $80,000 that was contingency for remediation removal of red clay, which they didn't find. So it should have brought the price of that project down by that $80,000. Obviously, construction costs have gone up over the last year, but so far, to date, this project's now at $300,000. I understand there was a little over $46,000 spent of LOST for the design. But this project is now coming in at $300,000, which I think includes contingency, doesn't it?
It does, 10%.
And so the project can't be more than 70% TDT used for it. And so if it's at 300,000 and we've approved 228, are we into the 70%, are we over 70% by spending another 91,000 to fully fund this project? Are we fully funding it? Plus, minus that 46 that was LOST? Because I remember having that conversation back last year about the percent, and that was presented to us. I went back, I couldn't find the information that was presented to the TDC, but I did go back to the BOCC meeting.
I don't recall that discussion, but I do recall, I thought we brought it to this board before our board took it up. Just, again, same thing I'm trying to do here, that we postpone the vote. And Tim might have some more answers on that. Thanks, Tim.
Yes. Hey, Tim.
Thank you, Chairman Bear. When this was originally talked about and discussed, what we were looking at as the county match was the original $3.1 million acquisition.
Okay.
So this is funding the construction, but to keep the equalities right, we were also including that land acquisition price.
Okay. All right, thank you. So to keep us in compliance with the TDT statute, the acquisition went towards the 30%.
Yes.
Which obviously far exceeds the 30%. Okay, so the additional $92,000 is in compliance with the TDT statute. So we're still under the $402,000. It's just interesting. I'm not sure what changed.
I was going to say, Tim, do you have any inside input on that?
Because originally, back in May, the grading and paving was let me see, this was February last year. Grading and paving was $303,000, signage was $11,000, utilities $7,700 for a subtotal of $321. And then there was the $80,000 contingency for the unsuitable soils. So the soils are out, right? Because you all found oyster beds. So that was $321. And this total is $302. So we're not funding it with other sources, the project, other than the acquisition. At this point, we're just going back to try to get it fully funded as opposed to what we had discussed last year, it seems.
That's correct.
Okay.
The original board action, what was presented to the board was actually something that approached almost $600,000. The board saw kind of an original kind of construction line item, and they said, let's go with that. And so that really just put a placeholder in that started this conversation. The number in front of you today, the 302,708, represents the number that our engineering department believes it'll cost to construct based on a contract that they're issuing.
Okay.
We've just gone from numbers that were estimates to actual costs based on going out to the contractor.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, what do you recommend?
I don't have a recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, does it even matter if Board of County Commissioners have already approved it?
We have not already approved it.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't approved it.
I did ask that it come to this board first, as been my commitment to you all. Now, I don't think that's to say that we couldn't, but I do know that the District 2 Commissioner was asked to put some discretionary monies behind this and declined. And so that would leave our, that's the other reason why we're here today.
So the project has met the statute as a percent of the share. The percent of the cost has been accepted by the county with the purchase of the property. The other items where, you know, I guess the county fiscal year immediately preceding the fiscal year in which the tax revenues were initially used for such purposes, at least 10 million in tourist development tax revenue was received. So when it was initially done in 2020, we collected in 19 at least 10 million. So that's covered. The 70% rule, you guys have approved the use of the proposed facility. The analysis we got, and at least 40% of all tourist development tax is being used for marketing in the county. So it meets all the statutes. So unless this board thinks there is a better use for these funds than providing beach access to tourists to come down to finish out this project, then Mr. Reeves, my suggestion would be that we as a council approve these in support of.
I make the motion.
I second it.
So can you state the motion more fully? Just so we know what we're voting on.
Commissioner Bender,
That this board approved the remaining $91,782.64 for the construction of beach access number 4.
that's it.
That's your motion? And that was what you seconded?
That's it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. Is there no other funds that are available, local options, nothing that can pay for that besides TDT revenue?
I mean, we have our budget director here. I would say that I'm not aware of any. There are definitely other projects that I'm trying to find monies for, that I'm having difficulty completing projects that wouldn't fall under this or other things. But Amber, are you aware of any additional funds? Again, we did try to have, we did ask the District 2 Commissioner if he would use it out of his LOST discretionary funds, and he did not want to support that.
You are correct, Commissioner. As anyone that might have seen the previous presentations, LOST, the local option sales tax funds, are quite frankly upside down. So we have more projects promised to the taxpayers than we have funding currently available. So the Commissioner
To the
is
tune
correct.
of how many? How much? Many millions?
As of this current fiscal year, 2 million short, but it's a growing number.
Is that why the Commissioner District 2 said he would not take the funds from the?
He shared in the previous meeting his reasoning
Okay.
for that, and I don't want to misquote him, but
I would not do it. I would do a disservice to his quote if I
right,
tried it.
I would too if I tried to summarize it. So
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, so the motion on the floor, the second. I'll call for the vote. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Okay. So the motion passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1. I don't think my vote. Thank you. 6. I don't know that, 6, I voted in favor. Thanks. All right,
All right, thank you, Board.
thank you. All right, next item is Commissioner Bender also asked to bring Blue Angels Alumni Association and Foundation is making, I don't know if they made the request or.
Wes Reeder's here.
Okay.
He's putting it together. And I'll let Wes come up and present.
Thank you, Wes.
All right, good afternoon, Chairman Bear, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I'm here today, my name is Wes Reeder. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about some events that are planned in conjunction with this, the 75th anniversary of the Blue Angels. And I kind of laughed to come before the board, and I didn't realize the seal. I look up at the seal, and how does the Blue Angels play into tourism? And I see they're prominently displayed in our seal here, so that helps my cause a little bit. This year, in conjunction with the 75th anniversary, the Blue Angel alumni, the former team members and current team members, there are two associations. There is one association that is the Blue Angel Association that also includes the foundation, and they do scholarships, they raise money for wounded warriors, all of those sorts of things. And that is primarily made up of former officers and pilots of the Blue Angels. There's a second association that is the Blue Angel Alumni Association that is made up of officers and enlisted members, and the total membership of these two organizations is approximately 1,500 members at this time. Never before have these two associations joined together for an event, but this year for the 75th anniversary, full disclosure, I'm on the board of the Blue Angel Alumni Association, but in working with the two associations this year, we are planning an event to be held at Seville Quarter the weekend of the Homecoming Air Show that will be a reception for all of the current and former team members, along with local politicians, dignitaries, military leaders throughout the area, to be held at Seville as kind of it serves two purposes. One, it's a party that the Blue Angels have every year, but this year we've got the whole complex, and that is the period of time at that particular event when the Blue Angels announce the new team members, the new pilots for the next year. It's not an event that a lot of civilians outside of the organization usually get to go to. This year will be an exception because there will be a lot of invited guests for that. So in looking forward to that event and starting to put together the funding, and I just confirmed this afternoon, the pricing that we have for this, our budget is about $24,600 to Seville. Now, we have reached out and tried to raise money for funding, and I sent a letter to Visit Pensacola, to Mr. Schaefer, and to D.C. Reeves as chairman of the board, Santa Rosa Island Authority, City of Pensacola, and to Commissioner Bender with Escambia County as a request for a source of funding. We received some commitments from the city. We did not get a favorable response from Santa Rosa Island Authority. I am going back to them again tomorrow night to speak with them. Primarily, they were concerned that the event's going to be held downtown, and so since it's not on the beach, they didn't care to participate. But let me tell you what is going to happen with the members that are coming in town. We're going to have approximately 800 to 1,000 members that are going to be coming in town. They've booked the hotels on the beach. They booked the Hyatt out at the airport. They're going to be spending their money here. They're going to be eating in our restaurants. There's certainly going to be an immediate source of tourism dollars coming into this community. And I think the Blue Angels, I don't think anybody denies that the Blue Angels continue to be kind of an iconic little banner for tourism in our community. So I am not standing here before you asking for something that I didn't do or we wouldn't do personally. My firm, Emanuel Shepherd & Condon, has committed $6,000 of our own funds to this reception and to this event because we see it as kind of a way to say thank you to all those service members in the Blue Angels that have served over the years. There'll be some of the older team members there that were from those very early days. Yes, sir.
How can we help you?
I want money.
How much?
I sent the request in, and I think it was $10,000. I had asked for $10,000, and that would help us with the money we've already raised. That would put us close to the $20,000 mark. And I think we can quickly get the remaining amount. So with that, I'll just say that is my ask. If you need more information, you have any questions for me, please let me know, and I'll be happy to answer those.
And if I may, so the one in talking about the new procedure for visit, we thought this was better to come to this board. When I talked to Darren about it, I've also explained to Wes the uses for the money, and since no alcohol can be purchased, things like that. And then Also, it is it's a little bit bigger event, being the 75th anniversary. They have, as I said, booked out a number of hotels in the area, and of course, having them not just for the homecoming show like we're having this November, but of course they do play a big part in our tourism on a countywide level. So.
Yeah, and let me just say, I did confirm with the committee that's working the event today. They can allocate with Seville. We can allocate any funds that are received from this body or from Visit Pensacola to the food costs and keep it restricted from the alcohol.
So do you have a motion?
I'd make a motion that we approve $10,000 for the Blue Angel Alumni Association and Foundation for the 75th anniversary event.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Wes, was this a one-time ask? Is this just
This is a one-time just for the 75th anniversary.
Okay.
First time we've ever had a joint reception, and so we're really looking forward to that.
All right, thank you.
So one question I have is, or a comment that I have is, during November's air show, and I know the association and the foundation, I don't think have any influence over the military and the Navy base and stuff, but I know historically Visit Pensacola has tried to get their visitor interface surveyors to be able to go to those events and try to survey what the impact is on tourism of the Blue Angels. Because anecdotally, we all agree. I mean, you can look at what the beach looks like during the Blue Angels air show that weekend, and how many people are out at the Navy base in November for the show. I'm sure the hoteliers can also speak to that, but we'd love to be able to get the data to be able to interface with the visitors themselves to find out specifically, what kind of economic impact it's having on our community.
Absolutely, Mr. Chair, and we can make that happen so that you can conduct surveys, give us information to give to them in their packets when they arrive, if we want to do it that way, or you can come in and interview some of the members to see where are they spending their money, what are they doing while they're here. So. I think it's a good
Darren,
idea.
I'm not trying to volunteer Visit Pensacola. I know in the past they've tried to do that, so I don't know if that's something you guys would still be interested in. It'd be great to capture that information, so. All right.
The kind of food they're buying makes them want to drink Budweiser beer.
I didn't say that.
Tell them to go.
Thank you very much.
Well, we have to take action. So there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Not call for the vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? No, motion
All right.
passes. Thank
Now
you so
I'll
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have them stay at the RV park at the beach as well, please.
I did want to say also that when we're talking about Pensacola Beach, I live on Pensacola Beach, and you would not know that there's any COVID issues going on right now. It's pretty crowded out there. Good thing.
Thank you so much. All right, that concludes our agenda. So I will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, David, I forgot to mention something.
Yes, sir.
So, Jared, I did have a counterpart reach out regarding the maritime leases,